Jehovah moved upon the etherean worlds in the wide regions where the great serpent traveled. His voice went forth, and among the counselors, the high-ruling chieftains of the exalted kingdoms in the firmament, he spoke, saying, Hear me, your Jehovah, O chieftains. Be foreseeing in my traveling worlds, and alert to my words. Behold, the red star, the earth, has attained her maturity. As a daughter comes forth in the prime of life, so stands the young earth in her glory. For 50,000 years she has played her part as an ornament of heaven, and a harvester of bright souls for my exalted regions in the firmament. Gather together, O you Orion chiefs and you etherean goddesses, and you who dwell in the roadway of the great serpent. Call a council of my everlasting rulers of worlds, and include those who plant my Aegean gardens and my Giant fields, and those who whirl my nebulous vortices in the firmament. The voice of Jehovah extended across the wide universe, and those who were high-raised in the management of worlds heard and comprehended. And in the etherean gardens of Sinaya, near the roadway of the solar phalanx, there assembled millions of Jehovah's highest, and the place was like a park, larger than 100 times the size of the earth, and on every side lay the crystalline borders of etherean worlds. And when they were assembled, Jehovah spoke out of the light inherent, saying, 16 times, my etherean hosts have redeemed the earth and her heavens from darkness into light, and yet before the end of a cycle she falls again, and her atmosphere with her. And now her heavens are again filled with billions of spirits who do not know me and my emancipated worlds. Speak, O gods and goddesses. Sutlu spoke first, saying, O Jehovah, I have heard, I have seen. Too prolific is the earth, the young daughter of heaven. Too prolific is the red star of the firmament. Next spoke Oahspe, saying, You have spoken, O Jehovah. The rich earth is too prolific, O Father. Her, the earth's, mortals are overpowered by her atmospherian hosts. Her people build up cities and nations for a season after dawn, but soon they are flooded over by Fetals and Drujas, and the mortals devour one another like beasts of prey. Chijong said, Her, the earth's, people have tilled all the soil of the earth and covered it over with cities, but where are they? Her people have been learned in the matters of heaven and earth, but their knowledge is dissipated by the dread hand of war. Duida said, Her, the earth's, people become wise in a day, but on the next, they are fools. One generation becomes skilled in books, and in knowledge of the sun, moon and stars, and in the mathematics of corporeal things, but a generation follows, and lo, her people are cannibals again. Gazan said, I have heard, O Jehovah. I have witnessed, O Father. The red star, earth, is too prolific. She is like a garden too rich. Her products are overgrown, and they fall down and doubly enrich the soil again, to reproduce an imperfect giant stalk that is barren. So are her sons and daughters, they all run to earthly substances. Luwin said, Great Spirit, Jehovah, I have heard, I have seen. We gather the earth's harvests for you, O Jehovah, but they are small. We gather the earth's harvests of dark spirits, O Jehovah, and they are 10 times larger. Behold, there is no balance between them. Thus spoke the gods and goddesses, till thousands of them had spoken. After that the voice of Jehovah spoke, saying, You are blessed, my sons and daughters. How can you bequeath the administration of the earth and her heaven to the earth-born, till she is made suitable as a gift from my hand? Now hear me, O my sons and daughters. I made 5 great divisions of the earth, including Waga, Pan, Jud, Asia, Dis, Europe, Vohu, Africa, and Thauri, America, and they, the divisions, have all been fully inhabited and tilled by mortals. Yes, on all the divisions of the earth there have been great cities and nations, and men and women of great learning. And as often as they, mortals, are raised up in light, so are they again cast down in darkness, because of the great desire of the spirits of the dead to return back to the earth. These drudge return to mortals and fasten upon them as feetles or as familiars, and inspire them to evil. Go now to the earth, O my beloved gods and goddesses, and find the division of the earth where most of these drudge congregate, for I, Jehovah, will uproot their stronghold. I will break them from their haunts, and they shall no longer carry my people down to destruction. And now the council of etherean gods and goddesses deliberated, and after a while, caused the records of the earth and her atmosphere to be examined, and they, the council, discovered that the heaven of the land of Waga, Pan, was beyond redemption, because of the great numbers of the spirits of the cannibals, and the multitude of feetles. The condition of Waga, Pan, and her heaven was as if a disease in the flesh healed over externally, leaving the root of the disease within. Accordingly, the redemption of the cycles did not remain with her, but evil broke out continually in a new way. So Jehovah said, Now I will prune the earth and her heaven. Behold, the division of Waga, Pan, shall be hewn off and cast beneath the waters of the ocean. Her heaven shall no longer be tenable, be secured by the spirits of destruction, for I will rend, I will pull apart its foundation and scatter them in the winds of heaven. Go, therefore, O etherean gods and goddesses, down to the earth and provide nets and vanchas, yes, holding cells for spiritual transport, those detention ships for medical attention, for receiving the spirits of darkness, and for receiving the spirits of mortals who shall perish in the waters. Also provide a place in your Jehovah's exalted heavens suitable for them, these drudge and Essenes. And you, O gods and goddesses, shall put walls around them in heaven so they cannot escape, but can be weaned from evil. And when you, O etherean gods and goddesses, have come to the earth and its heavens, acquaint my God over the earth and his lords with your Jehovah's decree. And say to them, Thus says Jehovah, Behold, I will sink the land of Waga, Pan, beneath the waters of the Pacific Ocean, and her heaven I will carry away to a place in my firmament, where she shall no longer engulf my people in darkness. And Jehovah says, Go, O God of heaven, and you, O Lord of Waga, down to my chosen, the Ahans, and say to them, Thus says the Great Spirit, Behold, I will sink the lands of the earth beneath the ocean, because of the evil of the spirits of darkness. Hear me, O my chosen, and heed my commandments. Begin now, all hands, and build ships in all places, even in the valleys and on the mountains, and let my faithful gather together within the ships, for my hand is surely stretched over the earth. And you, O God of heaven and lords of earth, shall also proclaim to the earth and her heaven, that from the first, even in the ancient days, I, Jehovah, proclaimed my three worlds to all people, which are my corporeal world, the atmospherian, lower heavens belonging to it, and my etherean, higher heavens, which are in the firmament above. And I said, The first glory is of the earth, on which is paradise when man obeys my commandments, and the second glory, which is greater than the first, I created for the spirits of the dead, but I bound the lower heaven to the earth, so it would travel with it, so that the communion of the dead with the living could add a glory to both. But the upper heaven I made the highest of all glories, and I filled the etherean firmament with countless etherean worlds, for the dwelling places of those who rose in the third resurrection. And I, Jehovah, sent down from the exalted heavens to the lower heavens and earth, my holy angels, over whom I appointed gods and lords in the majesty of my dominions. And they came proclaiming these things in my name, teaching both mortals and spirits how to live, so they could rise and inherit my illuminated worlds. And because man was without knowledge, my gods and lords, which are submissive to me, Jehovah, appointed certain masters of generations, Lewis, who were Ethereans of great wisdom, to remain with mortals and inspire marriages that would best promote spiritual growth from this start. And there came forth among all people, certain ones capable of Sergis, which is 1. the ability to have substance from either an individual's body or surroundings be used by an angel to take on a corporeal appearance. 2. The ability to produce spirit raps from surroundings, such as a bang, thunderclap, popping, snap, or crack. And or 3. The ability to produce the semblance, which is to say, guise, of a corporeal thing, and this alongside those capable of suis, which is 1. The ability to perceive spiritually, and 2. The ability in a narrower sense to perceive, see, and or hear angels, which are spirits in their natural condition, and they, the Sergius and the suis, obeyed the commandments of my gods and lords, forsaking, yes, renouncing, evil and striving to serve the Spirit, choosing me above all things. For which reason, I chose them also, and called them Ihans. For as much as they, the Ihans, commenced, yes, began, putting away self and serving me while they were yet in corpore, so were they not born in the spirit world before their full time. And yet there are others not of full birth, which is to say, of whom die young corporeally and are born into spirit life prematurely, who have not, in the corporeal form, begun to triumph in spirit over their own flesh. Jehovah said, Go forth, O my etherean sons and daughters, and prune my vineyard. Ask of them of Jehovah, of my God of the earth and his lords with him, to gather together all the angels of the earth, from east to west and from north to south, and bring them to the land of Waga, Pan. My etherean ships of fire, those belonging to me, Jehovah, shall surround Waga, Pan, on every side. And I will cut loose the foundations of the earth, at the borders of the ocean and the mountains of Gan, neither shall any prop nor cornerstone stop my hand. And I will send rains, winds and thundering, and the waters of the great deep shall come upon the lands, and the great cities shall go down and be swallowed in the sea. And the rich valleys of Mai, with her 1,000 cities, shall be pierced with the madness of men and women fleeing before the waters of the ocean. And women and children shall fall by the wayside and be drowned, and men shall go down in the water and not rise. And the wide plains of Og, with her 1,000 cities and the great capital of Penj, and the temples of Ku, Bard, Gan and Sang, shall sink to rise no more. And in the deluge, the air of heaven shall be filled with the screaming and wailing of millions of mortals going down to destruction. I, Jehovah, will rescue them from darkness. I will carry them to Aegean regions, which I previously created for spirits of darkness, and I will appoint over them gods and goddesses, to teach them of me and my kingdoms. And the earth and her heavens shall take a new start among my habitable worlds. In all these ways, then, I, Jehovah, have provided labor for my high-raised angels in the places I created, says Jehovah.